Hello my dear students of class 11 science, so welcome to EVS class. So today I'm just going to finish the syllabus by taking the chapter technology and environment. Okay, so mainly Miss Manisha has taken the class about the conventional energy. Okay, their advantages, the disadvantages, she discussed it with all of you. So the remaining topics of the chapter I'm going to discuss it today. Okay, so we are going to learn about the diseases, the different type of diseases, and we are going to learn about the technology here, that is biotechnology. Okay, so let's begin with the topic diseases. So mainly diseases, he said that they are the indicator of the health of the environment. That is true, because whenever the environment will be polluted, whenever the quality of the air is deteriorating, okay, then we the human beings are the one who are going to suffer from different types of diseases. So we can say that if an individual suffers from a particular diseases, then it will indicate the health of the environment, that the surroundings of a place is not so clean, it is being polluted. For example, like diseases like dysentery, cholera, polio, they will give us the indication of our poor and contaminated water supply. That means the water will be contaminated by the germs, okay, then obviously we'll suffer from dysentery, cholera and polio. If we suffer from disease like malaria, dengue, then it will give us the idea that there is stagnant water in our surroundings, which is mainly due to deforestation. If you suffer from the respiratory diseases like asthma, let's say, okay, then it gives us the idea that the air is being polluted, and this mainly shows the excessive industrializations and the urbanizations and the lack of tree cover to mop up the pollutants present in the air. So we can say that the diseases indicates us that how healthy or unhealthy is our surrounding, is our environment where we are surviving. Okay, so infectious diseases are closely related to climatic changes. Most pathogens thrive in hot and humid climates, which is why epidemics die on their own. When weather changes, the spread of infectious disease is also an indication of global warming. Okay, so diseases indicates the health of our environment, of our surroundings, where we used to live, where we used to survive. Now prevention of diseases, how to prevent the diseases. Okay, so a large number of diseases, they can be controlled or they can be prevented from spreading by providing safe and adequate water supply, by maintaining proper sanitations, okay, by maintaining proper nutrition, and even by controlling the pollution level in our environment. Okay, so deficiency diseases like kwashiorkor, caused by lack of proteins, beriberi, scurvy, rickets, night blindness or pellagra, which are caused by the deficiency of vitamins. Okay, and this can be mainly been prevented by providing a proper nutritious diet or food, which are rich in nutrition, and this we have learned even in biology class also, right? Different type of diseases due to lack of vitamins or the minerals. Then sanitation, the second key point, is mainly related to disposals of waste products, and mainly for the disposal of waste products we have got the proper dumping place. All right, if you used to dump the waste products here and there in our surrounding, then it will get polluted, and obviously we are the one who will suffer from the effect of those pollutions. Unclean, insufficient water is responsible for 90% of the death due to indirect diseases, and some of the pathogens and vectors breathed in water may be taken in with the unclean water, and on that thing, what means that the diseases will begin to occur in healthy individuals. Why? Because we are taking the water which is contaminated by the germs, by the pathogens, and when we are taking those water which are being contaminated by the germs, by the pathogens, then we will suffer from different types of diseases. Okay, so water pollutions is also responsible for the occurrence of different types of diseases. It said that it is also responsible for the diseases like Minamata diseases. So we can say that with proper nutrition, proper sanitation, clean water, regular supply of water, one can generally prevent the spread of diseases. Okay, now let's talk about the communicable diseases. Communicable diseases are those diseases where the host becomes ill after coming in contact with a carrier. So it will be transmitted from a unhealthy individuals to a healthy individuals. So infectious pathogens which are responsible for the diseases may be viruses, it can be bacteria, fungi, protozoa, or any other parasites. So these particular pathogens will simply transfer from the affected individuals to the healthy individuals, and that's why it is called communicable diseases. Now how do it transmit? Simply from the blood, like when two are in close contact with one another, then through breathing also it can transmit it, through the saliva, mucus, through the sexual contact also, or by touching the contaminated surfaces by the unhealthy persons. These diseases can be transmitted. Okay, so let's discuss about the few types of communicable diseases. First one, HIV/AIDS. Okay, which is caused by the HIV virus. Then it is called the retrovirus. You will learn in class in detail about the virus that causes AIDS. Okay, so AIDS is caused by the HIV virus. It kills about 3 million people every year, and this virus is present in semen, blood, and the body fluids. Now, how does this HIV/AIDS will be transmitted? By having the unprotected sex, or let's say during sexual intercourse, or when there will be blood transfusions, when the blood of an individual is infected by HIV virus, and when that blood will be given to the recipient one, then the recipient one will receive the HIV virus and will suffer from AIDS. Then by setting of needles with the infected individuals also will help in the transmissions of AIDS. Clear? And there is no vaccines or medicines for the AIDS. All that can be done is to ensure that the number of fresh cases is kept in check, and the medicine is provided to slow down the progress of the disease, and that the lifespan of the individuals suffering from the HIV/AIDS can be made nearly longer. Okay, but it's not a permanent cure. Okay, and AIDS can be kept under check by any of the following ways. So how we can mainly prevent the spread of the HIV/AIDS? Focus on the age group that is mostly like to spread the disease, and provide free testing for HIV/AIDS. Use the media to spread awareness, and provide free drugs to slow down the progress of the diseases. Even after this, we have got different types of methods by which we can mainly control the transmission of HIV/AIDS. Clear? So you can write any other means of prevention of HIV/AIDS if you have any idea, or if you have any other points. Tuberculosis, TB, highly infectious disease which is caused by the bacterium, which is right, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and is mainly transferred through contact, especially where there is high population density. The TB germs are present everywhere. People, they usually suffer, or they become infected by this bacteria, that is Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and they will suffer from this disease. So it is a communicable disease. It will transfer from one individual to another individuals. Okay, and those individuals who are who are suffering from HIV/AIDS, their immunity power will be very, very poor. They will not be able to fight with a small particular disease also. So those individuals are very, very prone to tuberculosis, those who are AIDS patients. Okay, and TB can be prevented by BCG vaccinations with the young. Clear? So remember these things. Next one is hepatitis B, the viral disease which kills nearly 1 million of people every year, and it is transmitted by the infected blood, unsafe sex, infected needles, or from the mother to fetus, and this disease will mainly damage the liver, and it can also be prevented by vaccination. Malaria is caused by the parasite Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malariae, Plasmodium falciparum, and Plasmodium ovale. Okay, so these are the parasite which will cause the disease malaria, and over here this particular parasite is mainly carried from one place to another place by the help of the vector, that is the female Anopheles mosquito. Okay, so here the female Anopheles mosquito will act as the vector for the transfer of the parasite Plasmodium from an infected individual to a healthy individual. So how can we prevent this malaria? Ensure that there are no stagnant water in our surrounding place. So we have to keep our surrounding clean and free from water stagnation, because those stagnant water will be the breeding ground for the mosquitoes. Spraying of insecticides or the spreading sites or breeding gambusia to reduce the population of mosquitoes can be done. So symptoms: high fever, recurs periodically, and profuse sweating. Okay, the old remedy for malaria was quinine, but the germs have become resistant to it. This is called co-evolution. Clear? This is called co-evolution. That means both the over here the host and the parasite, they're evolving together. So we are developing different types of techniques, different type of medicines in order to mainly kill those parasites. Simple as quinine. So quinine was effective at the beginning. Alright, it was mainly been used to treat the disease malaria, but nowadays what happens is that the germs or the parasite has become resistant to quinine. Okay, those is called co-evolutions, where the host and the parasite are evolving together. Number 2, we'll talk about non-communicable diseases which will not be transmitted from the infected individuals to healthy individuals. So these are mainly caused by different factors like malnutrition, deficiency of certain nutrients and vitamins, structural malfunctioning also. So we'll see. According to WHO, World Health Organization, 4 mostly deadly diseases under the non-communicable diseases are cardiovascular disease, cancer, chronic respiratory disease, and diabetes. So first of all, we'll talk about the cardiovascular diseases. Okay, the disorder of the heart and the blood vessels, which include the coronary artery disease, the heart attack, cerebrovascular disease, the stroke, raised blood pressure, hypertension, peripheral artery disease, rheumatic heart disease, congenital heart disease, and heart failure. So these are different types of cardiovascular disease. Now, how does an individual will suffer from this type of diseases? First is smoking and tobacco. Tobacco increases the risk of cardiovascular diseases and heart attack. Okay, the ingredient in cigarette alone will pose a serious risk to the heart. The additive which is present in the cigarette or in tobacco is nicotine, is the leading cause of cardiovascular diseases. The smoking has different types of effect to the heart. First one, atherosclerosis, where there will be narrowing of the artery or the blockage of the artery. So plaque building up on the artery wall, which will restrict the blood flow through the artery, and nicotine is the main cause. High blood pressure, nicotine will raise the blood pressure. Oxygen flow reductions, carbon monoxide in cigarette we smoke is the main culprit and affect the both smokers and non-smokers inhaling the smoke passively. That means if we are sitting close to the smokers, those who used to smoke continuously, we, the non-smokers, also will suffer from the smoke because will be the passive smokers. Okay, so it is better to stay away from those individuals who are mainly the chain smokers. Number is of alcohols. Abusing alcoholic increases or taking too much of alcoholic drinks will increase the fatty deposits in the blood, leading to atherosclerosis, and this will rise the blood pressure. It will increase the risk of coronary heart diseases. Number 3, diet, physical inactivity, and obesity is also one of the reasons for cardiovascular diseases. Okay, so diet, physical activity, obesity are 3 major causes of cardiovascular disease. A diet high in saturated fats, trans fats, cholesterol promote the onset of atherosclerosis, the narrowing of the wall of the arteries. Okay, and in addition to that, the diet high in sodium raises the blood pressure significantly, which also been a threat to the cardiovascular diseases. Physical inactivity leads to the high blood pressures, high level of fatty acids promote hardening of the artery, and low level of HDL, that good cholesterol, and diabetes. And in addition, the physical inactivity leads to the another of the causes of the cardiovascular obesity. And obesity is excessive body fat and is linked to the higher level of LDL, that is bad cholesterol in the blood or in the heart. So obesity will also trigger the onset of high blood pressure and diabetes. So these are the different types of diseases or the different types of causes of cardiovascular disease in case of human being. Number 2, non-communicable disease, the cancers, which is mainly the abnormal proliferation of the cells. Okay, so depletions of ozone layer leads to the exposure of the skin to UV ray, and this will cause the skin cancer. So exposure to UV ray over the suns will have a harsh effect on our body. Okay, so exposure to ultraviolet rays of the sun, exposure to high level of X-ray, suppression of immunity system due to some diseases, using of tanning booths, contact with chemical, arsenic or certain hydrocarbons will bring the changes in our cell, and there will be abnormal proliferations or the abnormal multiplication of cells, which will lead to the formation of a tumor, and that will lead to cancer also. And we have got two types of tumor. We'll learn in class details: benign tumor and malignant tumor. Okay, so all the tumors, they are not cancerous, because benign tumors, they are fixed to their place and it can be removed surgically. But if the tumor is malignant one, that is the cancerous one, it can be transmitted or can spread throughout the body. Okay, so the cancer is curable by surgery if it is detected at the earliest stage, because we have got first stage, second stage, third stage. So at the beginning only, if cancers can be detected or will be detected, then it can be cured by means of surgery. Okay, so another type of skin cancer develops in pigmented areas such as moles. This type is more dangerous as fatality rate is much higher and are likely to reoccur after a period of time. Okay, it has been found that a certain gene makes people more susceptible to the diseases. Okay, so even you have got the cancer causing genes in our body, but they are in their recessive state. So you learn in class 12 about the cancer also in detail. Scurvy, next one. A disease caused by the lack of vitamin C in the body. Patients feel lethargic, depressed. Spot develops on the skin and followed by the bleeding gums, loss of teeth, jaundice, fever, and even death. And it can be cured by taking the food which is rich in vitamin C, like the citrus fruit, potatoes, tomatoes, cabbage, and grass, and certain green pepper. Okay, then rickets, which is caused by deficiency of vitamin D, and is mainly caused by the lack of calcium as well. Clear? So symptoms, there can be vomiting, diarrhea, and in childhood there might be kidney and liver diseases can cause rickets. Okay, so this can be prevented by taking food rich in calcium, like taking egg, okay, fish liver oil, butter. So, and even exposure to sunlight can also cure the rickets, because we'll get vitamin D from the sunlight. Okay, diabetes, the next one, the presence of high amount of blood glucose level. So this is a group of metabolic diseases which are characterized by the high level of blood sugar. Symptoms: frequent urinations, excessive thirst, loss of weight. Okay, and if disease is not brought under control, it can lead to cardiovascular failure, renal failure, and retinal damage. That means your heart, your kidney, your eye can be damaged if not been treated at earliest. It's controlled by sugar-free diet, or if not successful, by taking insulin, a supplement can be done. Okay, and risk of having this disease increase with poor diet and tendency to obesity also. So it is one of the let's say fatal disease also at the present time, the present scenario. Then we have got chronic respiratory disease. First one is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or disease caused by the narrowing of the airways in the lungs, which is brought about by heavy smoking in mines, or by excessive air pollutions. So those who are working in the mine, or those who are frequently exposed to higher air pollution, those who are chain smokers, then they will suffer from chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases. Clear? So it is mainly characterized by the shortness of breath, initial stage, to even respiratory failure. Symptoms include cough with or without mucus, fatigue, wheezing. Okay, and there is no cure as such. Through symptomatic treatment is done to give relief, and it can be brought under control by removing the causative agents. Like example, you have to give up his smoking habitats, okay, or you have to change your walking place. If you're walking on the mine field or in the coal mine, then you have to need to walk on different fields. Only then you can be prevented from the type of respiratory diseases. Next one is hygiene and prevention of diseases. Okay, so topic is hygiene and prevention of diseases. First we'll talk about the low cost sanitation. To understand the need for sanitation, it's necessary to know about the composition of the human excreta. It's very important here, because if we are talking about the sanitations, then the compositions of the human fecal materials needs to be understood. So it contains the moistures, organic matter, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, carbon, and calcium. And other than this, it contains pathogens also that cause different types of diseases like cholera, hepatitis, typhoid, and even diarrhea. The excreta is also responsible for the transmission of various parasites like hookworms, tapeworms, roundworms. Okay, so therefore it is very important to treat this human excreta or the sewage. Clear? So untreated sewage is largely responsible for all the diseases. So in the developing countries where sanitation is inadequate, the number of deaths due to this disease is shocking. Clear? So therefore, this human excreta or the fecal material needs to be treated. Otherwise, it will lead to the rapid transmission of pathogens which can create different types of harmful diseases in human being. Okay, so let's talk about this one. Pit latrine is the most basic form of sanitation. It is constructed with the locally available materials. A pit is dug in the ground to collect the waste. Once the pit is full, it is covered with sediment. Care should be taken that the pit is well away from the groundwater so that it does not contaminate it. Okay, however, pit latrine is a source of terrible smell and a breeding ground of parasites, and hence not very popular. So mainly in case of the basic forms, in case of rural area, you will find these pit latrines. We have got ventilated improved pit latrine, which is mainly the improved version of the pit latrine. In this case, there is a vent pipe which allows the fresh air to enter, thereby reducing the bad smells. And we have got dry sanitation method, which does not involve any water. The excreta will be broken down anaerobically in the absence of oxygens. The decomposition is done by the bacteria, by the worms, and the other organisms. Those bacteria are anaerobic, those who can survive in the absence of oxygen. Now, dehydration method involves the separations of urine and the fecal materials. It is then covered with ash, shredded leaves, or sawdust to absorb the moisture and the smell. The materials added increases the nitrogenous content, and eventually the decomposed excreta is used as fertilizers. Now we'll talk about the traditional medicines and Ayurveda for the prevention of diseases. Ayurveda is the traditional form of medicines which is mainly mentioned in our Vedas also, that we have learnt. Okay, so it stresses the balance of three elements: energies, which is Pitta bile, Kapha, and Vayu, wind. The underlying theory being that unless these three are in equal quantity, the body is unhealthy. Okay, the Pitta, the Kapha, and the Vayu must be in balanced quantity, then we will be healthy. So Ayurveda uses both the plants and animals based medicines. Some common ingredients are cardamom, cinnamon, milk, bones, and gallstones. It also uses minerals in the medicines. So Indian government has passed the Indian Government Central Council Act in 1970, which gives the standardization norms for the practice of Ayurveda and accreditation to research done in this field. Okay, so the government will support both the research work on the field of Ayurveda and the teaching of Ayurveda also in the state and national level. Then Unani medicines. Unani medicine simply means Greek medicines. It is based on the teaching of the Greek physicians Hippocrates and adapted by the renowned Arab and Persian doctors into a medical system. And it came to India in 13th centuries and bears resemblance to Ayurveda medicine. It is based on the concept of four humors: phlegm, blood, black bile, and yellow bile. And Unani is a popular form of alternative medicines, and it has the government support to pursue, practice, and conduct research in this field. Next one is Siddha medicines, which is the form of traditional medicines also, which use the herbs and minerals. It is one of the world's most complex medicines which have evolved over a long period of time, and most of them are naturals and can be easily absorbed by the cells. And some chronic incurable diseases are said to be cured by the Siddha medicine. So kindly go through the traditional medicines, the three forms, which are Ayurveda, the Unani medicines, and the Siddha medicines. Now let's talk about the biotechnology. Now what does biotechnology means? So biotechnology is mainly a technology which is mainly been implemented in the field of biology to obtain the products which proves to be very, very useful for the mankind or for the human being. Okay, so biotechnology can be defined as a technical application that uses biological systems, the living organisms, the microorganisms, okay, to make the products which will be useful for the organisms or for the mankind. So they got a huge scope in many fields. First, agriculture. So tissue culture, cloning, hybridizations are some of the important techniques which are used in agriculture for development of agriculture. Okay, so tissue cultures play an important role in the propagation of high yielding varieties of plants. You learn class 12 details of biotechnology. Pest resistance, drought resistance, salinity resistant plants can also be developed by the help of biotechnology. Malnutrition in the third world century is being combated with the help of a biotechnology, because here we are developing the food products which are rich in nutrients, which are rich in vitamins. For example, we have got the golden rice, which is rich in vitamin A. Okay, then we used to developing different types of foodstuffs which is to rich in protein content also. So by the help of this biotechnology, we are trying to deal with malnutrition also. Okay, number two, industries. It is also used in the field of industries to improve the efficiency and to reduce the negative impact on the environment also. So it helps to reduce the chemicals in a more environmentally friendly way. Non-undesirable byproducts are formed in this way. Okay, role of biotechnology in environment. It is used to treat waste and for the pollution control. So nutrients are introduced to activate the bacteria present in the soil and to introduce new ones to act on the waste and convert it to harmless byproducts. That means those byproducts can be utilized by the human being. Like for example, gobar gas. You have heard this thing, right? We used to generate the gobar gas, the cow dung, using cow dung. Okay, so here we are using the microorganisms to mainly decay those byproducts or the waste products to develop the natural biogas, or we can recover gobar gas. So through biotechnology, enzymes bioreactors are developed which convert industrial waste to biofuel. They are also used to convert the waste to biodegradable plastics. Okay, and sometimes those byproducts are also being utilized by the human being. Example, like given you the gobar gas or the biogas. Okay, medicines. So lots of medicines has been prepared by the help of biotechnology. The insulin that we are taking for diabetes has also been developed by the help of biotechnology. So it is mainly used to produce proteins for pharmaceutical industries. Okay, it can be used to produce different types of medicines which are being beneficial for the mankind. DNA fingerprinting is now being commonly used for criminal investigations, and DNA testing is also used to study evolution of man. Gene therapy is also a new approach to in medical science to find cure for diseases. So we have got different types of different roles of biotechnology in the field of medicine. So we are talking about its roles for the formation of proteins or the vaccines, its role in the formation of and treatment of diseases by the help of gene therapy. If a gene is non-functional or is not functioning properly, then by the help of gene therapy we can make those gene functionals. Then you have got DNA fingerprinting technique which can be used in criminal investigations to mainly find out the criminals. Okay, so these are all the role of biotechnology which is being implemented, which is being used for the benefit of the mankind or the benefit of the human being. But what is limitation of biotechnology, a disadvantage or the limitations? The effects on health of genetically modified food is not known, because we are developing the foods which has been genetically modified, so we don't know whether they are healthy or not. But yeah, that is sure that we are developing the food which are rich in nutrients, proteins and vitamins, and we are trying to fight against the malnutrition. Okay, transfer of genes from one person to another may expose species to unknown allergens. That is true. A desired trait like resistance to herbicides may be incorporated in a crop. However, through cross-pollination, this trait may get transferred to weeds, which would be problematic. That means we are developing a crop which is resistant to herbicides. But by chance, if those genes from the crop will be transmitted to the herbs or to the weeds, then the weeds also becomes resistant to those herbicides. Insecticidal genes may be transferred to the non-target species like birds and butterflies, which will be an ecological disaster. So that means the balance will be disturbed. And biotech derived crops lead to the loss of biodiversity. So these are the few limitations or the disadvantages of biotechnology. So here we have finished the chapter technology and environment. So this particular topic that we have learned today, diseases, communicable diseases, non-communicable diseases and biotechnology, which are very, very important for examinations. Okay, so here we have finished the chapter and we have finished the syllabus of EVS. Study well, all the best, and see you in school. Take care and study well. Thank you.